Lifting and rolling your shoulders. And then raising, I'm going to raise my right arm. Stretch up, press your foot into the ground and stretch up. And then breathing out, lower your arm. And then breathing in, I'm going to raise my left arm. Breathe out, just relax down. Breathe in, stretch, pressing your foot into the ground and your hand upwards. And then breathing out, lower your arm. And then breathing in, raise your right arm. Breathe out, turn your head away from the right arm. Breathe into the center. And breathing out, lower your arm back down alongside you. And then breathing in, raise your other arm, your left arm. Breathe out, turn away from your left arm. Breathe in, come to the side, come to the center, and breathing out, lower your arm. Imagine your nose or your chin as a pencil. I'm going to go with the nose. And trace a very small horizontal figure of 8. Whereas I'm going to breathe in, go up to the right, trace around my 8 as I breathe out. Start breathing in as I come up, crossing over at the center of the 8, and go curving round to the left. Breathing out as I lower my head. Breathing in as I go up and my head goes to the right. So you'll find your own rhythm. This coordinating your movement with your breath slows your movement down. And in yoga, it's always the ideal or optimum to encompass any movement within the breath. So you start the breath, make a movement, finish your movement, finish your breath. But saying that to people, and they get so hung up on it that they kind of then, it becomes stressful for them. But that's effectively what you're doing. And this left to right motion, you slow it down as much as you want to with your breath, but you also make the movement as small or as large as you like. So it's on a physical level, opening your neck and moving your neck, but the control is is with you. And then, of course, you're balancing your left and your right brain hemispheres and connecting and balancing both your pineal, pituitary, thyroid and parathyroid, so your metabolic balance. Now, then you'll naturally have found you've gone one way. Either stay that way, or if you want to reverse your movement, which I've instantly gone wrong, then you can reverse your figure of 8. And just notice, we always go for our dominant side of the brain. I've instantly gone wrong, which I don't know what that says about me, but anyway, I'm still going wrong, but I'm sure you won't be. And then come back to the center. Just take a moment to notice the movement as it reflects in your head. And then just very, very gently come to the top of your mat. And I've got a question again. Do you like downward dog, or are you both, no, that goes into my head too much, so it's just you, and so you can tell me what you might like.
I don't mind doing it. I don't mind doing it dynamically. I don't want to hold it, but you don't normally hold it for long anyway, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I find downward dog a little bit difficult because I've still got a bit of a wrist problem, but that's just me. But I do it with my arms on the ground like that, so I don't take the weight on my hands.
I can avoid downward dog. So would you like me to do this avoiding downward dog?
Whatever, yeah.
Okay. So inhale, exhale, hands together at the heart center. As you press your palms together, you'll feel this lift you up. Drop your hands and breathing in, raise your hands up. You can look ahead or look up, depending on where your neck is. Breathing out, bend your knees as you roll down. You can use your hands to guide along your legs to help you. And your hands then go either side of your feet. Your knees are bent. Inhaling, step or slide your right foot back, and your right knee goes on the ground. And you'll just feel a stretch in your right hip, which can be quite opening. And then slide your left leg back. You're in cat. Take a moment to readjust so your knees can move to hip width apart, and so can your hands. Your thumb and second finger are pressed into the ground, and your hands, as far as they're able to, are flat. But if that's not possible, don't worry about it. Breathing in, dip your back and either look upwards, which is classic, or you can keep your neck straight and look along the ground. Breathing out, round your back, your chin comes to your chest. And for those of you who are interested, that's Jalandhara Bandha, which is activating the vagus nerve. Breathing in, dipping your back. Choose your neck position. And then rounding. The vagus nerve is implicated in inflammation, so activating it is good for bringing down inflammation. Inhaling, dipping your back. And breathing out, rounding. Now, normally here, I would invite you to tuck your toes and come into a downward dog. But I'm hearing possibly not. So let's move our hands to the left, which brings the right foot, the space of the right foot to come up. Move your hands either side of your right foot, and then walk your hands up onto your, just above your right knee. You can, if your balance is wobbly, move your right foot slightly further out to the edge of the mat. Inhaling, lift and roll, and just open your hands. And again, you can either look up or look straight ahead. You're opening your lung meridians here at the shoulder level. And then bring your head central. And inhaling, raise your arms, stretch your fingers. And then just lower your arms. And turn towards your right. So you're turning towards your inner right leg. You can take your left hand against the right thigh to stop the right leg splaying out. And inhaling, lift as you breathe in, and breathing out, just turn. Your head's really the last thing to turn. Inhale back to the centre, and then just slide your hands along your right leg down to the ground again. And slide your right foot back. Just rock-a-bye baby, your bottom goes from side to side. It's just moving your energy at the lower abdominal level. Just swirling it around. This energy, if you're interested, is called Apana energy. And in yoga, you've got a pose called Apanasana. And it's the Apana asana, the Apana movement. And it is very much connected with obviously the lower abdomen, and connects in Ayurveda, which is the yoga side of medicine, to a dosha called Vata dosha. And Vata is implicated in pain. So this is quite helpful in that regard. And then moving your hands to the right to slide your left foot up, hands either side of your left foot. So again, you can move your left foot out to the left if that gives you greater stability. And then you can just come forward, just stretching out your left hip. Normally, you'd be very paranoid about making sure that your knee is 90 degrees, has a 90-degree angle. Because your weight is being supported by your hands, you cannot let your knee go beyond the 90 degrees because you're being supported. But to come back and to lift up, come back with your knee at that 90 degrees, and then use your hands to walk upwards. And then just roll your shoulders. Open your palms, and again, you're opening the lung meridian points on your body. It is quite an opening pose, and you can either look ahead or up according to your neck capability. Now straighten your head so that it is actually upright. And raising your hands, you can raise them a little bit or right up. Stretch your fingers, and you can look forward or look up. Looking up is more difficult. But then bring your head centrally and then turn to the inside or thigh of your left thigh and turn to the left. Inhaling, lift your spine up and breathing out, turn to the left. And then come back to the centre. Slide your body forward over your left leg, hand down the side of your left foot. And then slide your left foot back. You're back in cat again. Just sway your bottom from side to side. And now imagine moving your bottom like you moved your nose in a slight figure of 8. So this time it's vertical. And how much you move is up to you. You could move a tiny amount, a token figure of 8, or you can really bring your hands perhaps forward and really make it much more exaggerated. The range of movement is entirely up to you. Your body is supported by your hands and your knees, so it is a very contained movement. And again, as you move your bottom, you're stretching out one side, swirling it round, stretching the other side. And you'll notice that you've chosen probably one dominant side, reflecting your, we've all got one dominant side. And so you can keep with that, or you might like to change direction and do your 8 in a different way. And then just bring your bottom towards your heels. You can have your bottom up if that is good for you. Just stretching out your back. Feel that you can move your hands, adjust them forwards and back. Your elbows can be off the ground, but they can equally be on the ground. That relaxes and releases you in the back area a little bit more. And just staying here for an in and an out breath. And then walk your hands back to your knees. Move your bottom towards the mat and stretch your legs out. And then just bounce your legs. Take the flesh out from under your bottom. In classic yoga, Dandasana, which is a seated pose, is very much hands down, fingers forward. But in a therapy setting, we can be much more relaxed and just adopt a position that suits us. So toes up towards the ceiling and then away from you. And just note, as you stretch your toes away from you, you're stretching the tops of the backs of your feet, the tops of your feet, and that activates your lymph system in reflexology. So it is beneficial movement. And then start to circle your ankles in one direction. And again, if you're being very precise about this, the circling the ankles correlates with your breath. So you breathe out as your ankles move away from you. Your big toes touch as you come to the centre, and then inhaling as you go up and round. It's quite a different process from the normal quick circle of the ankles. And you're really exploring every part of your ankle movement rather than rushing it, in which case you can miss some of the angles. And then just reverse your circle. And don't worry if your feet don't touch, it's just a guide to remind you to slow down and to make your circles correlate with your breath, correlate with your breath. And then if you stretch your toes out, where the toes join the base of the foot is connecting to the lung meridian again. And the Chinese believe that stretching your toes out and then curling them in is one of the greatest immune boosters. So if you're sitting at the hairdressers and you want to just, anywhere, you just want to boost your system, stretch your toes and curl them in. And we're just going into the Chinese system here. And then just circle your hands up and stretch your fingers And then circle your hands down. If your shoulders are stiff, you don't have to go up quite so high. And then circle again. And circle down. So Pat, you mentioned something about your wrist. So I'm just going to just almost hands up and just slightly, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, I'm just slightly bending back, and you can bend down, and then the other hand just slightly bending back. So particularly for this carpal tunnel type thing is not the right word, carpal tunnel or any kind of wrist things, if you put your wrists together, do say if you can't really see me, if you put your wrists together, I'm going to bring my thumbs together, then I'm going to do the backs of the hands together, fingers point down, and roll upwards and then back. I don't know, again, just ask me, because it can sometimes be very muddling. It really, really opens your wrists. And if you have difficulties with your wrists, you can always roll the top of your mat to make it a softer cushion so that your hand isn't flat down, it's just slightly lifted, and that might help. And with regard to downward dog and putting weight through your wrist on downward dog, if you bend your knees as you're coming up and aim your bottom away from your wrists, the weight shifts away from your wrists towards your bottom, your legs and your spine, and it's a subtly different movement. I've got somebody else who also has wrist problems, and it's a very modified downward dog, bringing the weight away from the wrists. Now, either you can carry on, you can do your head in and reverse it, so it's down and up. Don't worry if you can't do that. It's also a mind-brain coordination. Very good for the hands and wrists. And then just shake your hands out. You've done quite a lot. So come to a cross-legged position. And now we're going to start with what often a yoga class starts with, which is moving from side to side. So I'm interested in your feedback as to whether this is more helpful or absolutely not at all, because we've stretched out. So now I'm inviting you to slide your hand away, maybe come on to your elbow. Feel that your body's opening along the chest. So your chin tucks in, and then raise your arm. It's a slightly different movement. It protects you, but it's a very different movement. Tummy comes in or out towards the spine. Release your arm. Press down with your elbow and hold your knee to guide you up. And then slide to the other side. Maybe put your elbow down, your hip lifts. Open here at the shoulder so that you're feeling straight, you're not coming forward. Chin tucks in to protect your neck, and then you open your arm upwards. And then tummy in to support you as you come back up again. And then sitting up by just lightly touching the floor outside, legs into your spine. I'm going to take my left hand to my right knee. My right hand goes behind. I can have it flat or just up, lengthen my spine, and then I turn slightly, not a lot. My head's the last thing to turn, and the shoulder is away from the ear. Take an in and out breath. And then come back to the center. And then lengthen again. And then right hand to left knee, left hand behind. Lengthen the spine. You turn a little bit, the head's the last thing to turn. Shoulder, left shoulder's away from the ear. And in and out breath here. Come to the center, hands on both knees, lift up, tummy in, and then just bring your hands in front of you as you walk very subtly forward. And taking an in and out breath here. Coming forward like this, is very common to the nervous system. But again, if you feel stiff, this might be a little bit too much for you. So you can always come up and hold your knees, lengthen your body, and just come forward. And that might make a subtle difference. Feel that you're lengthening almost from the base of your spine, not just bending from your waist. And see if that makes a subtle difference. You're holding your knees as a support. And then very, very gently lift it up. And I'm going to then come to, there are two ways to stretch the back of the legs. One, which we're not going to do, but I just wanted to show you, is this movement here, when you're stretching like that. And another way to do it is to lie on your back and do it. So I'm going to invite you to lie on your back, hugging your knees into your chest. And again, yogically wise, you would have your fingers pointing away from your knees so that there's minimal pressure and your tummy or your abdominal muscles have to do the work. However, most people like to turn their hands sideways and really comfortably hug their knees into their chest. So you do whatever you feel like. And just hugging your knees in however you want to. Rock from side to side. Your hip lifts slightly off the floor potentially. You're just letting the body settle onto the mat. And then hug your knees in towards you and just still holding them. Let your knees travel away from you a little bit. So that's moving your spine in another direction. And then place your right foot on the floor and hug your left knee in towards your chest. And just take a couple of movements by rotating or circling your knee, your left knee. You'll feel the movement of your left leg, your femur, in the hip socket. And this is a really, really gentle way of keeping your hips mobile without putting any pressure on them. You control your circle, there's not weight on them. And then very gently circle your knee in the other direction. And your circle is as big or as small as you'd like to make it. And then dropping your hands to the backs of your thighs, clasping your hands, begin to extend your left leg up towards the ceiling. Your knee can remain bent, and if you then gradually extend your left heel, you will feel a stretch all the way along the back of your left leg, and that is like kneeling and extending your left leg forward with the heel up. It's all the way along. It's quite nice for sciatica, but it's also like hamstrings. Everything is stretched out. And you can just point and flex your left foot a couple of times and circle it a couple of times in one direction, maybe in both directions. And to accentuate that extension of your left leg, you can just slightly bring your left leg close towards your face, and you can optionally begin to walk your hands up the back of your left leg. Not too much. There'll come a point where you think, oh, that's enough for me, that's fine. Your left heel can be extended as well. Just feel the difference in the back of your left leg. And then very gently bend your left knee and place your left foot on top of your right leg, just above the right knee. You open your left knee out to the side like a figure of four. Resting your hands on your abdomen, just very gently sway both knees from side to side. If you want to put on an abdominal control, you would lift your right foot and put your hands through the left knee, the gap, clasping your right leg under the right thigh. Now, the yoga has difference in opinions. You'll find some classes invite you to extend your right heel and your left heel. So I'm going to invite you to do the same. Extend both heels and feel where you feel that. And then I'm going to invite you to relax your right foot and just keep your left heel extended and feel how that is for you. You might feel this in your outer left hip. And then just release and relax your left heel. And just note the differences. And then very gently relax and release your right foot back down to the ground. And then just once more rest your hands on your abdomen as you just sway your knee from side to side. So yoga says that you follow the path of least resistance and that you require energy to extend your heel. Most teachers seem to say don't extend your right heel in that, but some teachers like to extend the left heel. So it's obviously a point of contention, so I leave it to you which you prefer to do. But either way, the left leg, there's a little tiny muscle called the piriformis muscle, which is quite heavy duty, connected from the outside of your hip, which connects the upper leg to the hip. And that can be very implicated in lower back issues. So this pigeon or figure of four lying on your back goes some way to helping in that regard. And then just supporting the left leg by clasping underneath the left leg to bring your left foot off and put the left foot on the ground. And hands on your abdomen again. Your elbows are out, so you're opening your lungs again. And just let both knees drift in one direction. Your left hip will lift. Let the knees come back to the centre, and then both knees to the other direction. Your other hip, the right hip, will lift. And as you move from side to side, your hands might just slide along your tummy. And you might notice that your navel, it feels quite comforting, but you've got a lot of acupressure points around your navel. So you're almost giving your navel a sort of massage, connecting to all your internal organs. It can be quite soothing. If you want to involve your neck as well, it's very supported by the ground. So as your knees drift in one direction, so mine are going to the right, I might like to turn my head slightly to the left. Bring my knees back to the centre, my head back to the centre, and my knees then drift over to the left, my head will go to the right, and my hands are still massaging across my abdomen. So it's an incredibly gentle movement. And then come to bring your knees and your head to centre, make any adjustments with your feet that you need to, and bending your right knee, hug your right knee into your chest. And once more, just rotate your right knee in the right socket, making your circle as small or as large as you like. And your breath should, but it doesn't have to, be coordinating with your movement. So hugging your knee in towards your chest would be exhaling, and inhaling, your knee would go away from you, but whatever works for you is fine. And then very gently rotate your right knee in the opposite direction. And then dropping your hands underneath your right thigh, clasping your hands and extending your right leg up to the ceiling. You can keep bending your knee and begin to extend your right heel. Just feel that stretch all the way along the back of the leg. And just start to bring your right foot towards you. You can walk your hands optionally up the back of your right leg. How much you walk your hands up is up to you. You'll just feel that stretch, releasing everything. And then slide your hands down the back of your right leg to where you're comfortable, and then bend your right knee and open your right knee to the right and place your right ankle on the left leg. Placing your hands on your abdomen, and then just very gently sway from side to side. It's a very gentle massage across your lower back. Your hip will lift slightly, or you can let it lift, that's fine. And then you can stay swaying the knees from side to side, or you can lift your left foot off the ground, clasping your hands underneath your left thigh, placing your right arm through that gap. And again, you choose whether you'd like to extend your heels or not extend your heels. One thing that you can do is to bring your left knee slightly closer to you. And this will open up your fetus and the piriformis on the right side of your thigh, the outer thigh. But how much you bring your left knee in towards is up to you to get that opening on the right side. And then very gently release and place your left foot on the ground, supporting your right leg up. You can use your hands to lift your right foot off. Both feet now on the ground, both knees up towards the ceiling. And once more, you can just let your knees side to side. You can rest your hands on your abdomen. You can also actually bend your elbows, raise them above your head, and just hold your hands, hold your wrists, and just again rotate your knees, let them swing from side to side, and you can have your feet wider than hip width apart, more towards the edge of the mat, to get a softer roll, letting one knee drop almost into the centre, and then let the knees swing to the other side. You're opening, you'll feel a stretch under your arms, and this is opening up under the arms, which is connected into your upper lymph system to a large extent. So again, very helpful. Women who've had surgery perhaps under their arms can find that this open stretch is far too strong for them, it pulls. And if that's the case, then you can lower your elbows and just place your arms, hands on your waist, making them much lower and less strain under your arms. But I don't think either of you are in that position. But women who've had perhaps surgery under their arms for breast cancer will find that opening quite strong. And even after the operation, they might have scar tissue, so that can be quite strong. And then very, very gently stretch out one leg and stretch out the other leg. Lower your hands. Just extend your right foot, extend your right heel and relax. Extend your left heel and relax. Right heel, relax. Left heel, relax. Right heel and left heel. It's a way of opening the hips in a strange sort of way. And then just release and relax. And then bend your elbows and clasp your hands behind your head, supporting your head underneath. Your elbows go out like wings, and then just bring your elbows together, just lifting your head slightly and chin goes to the chest. And then you can just, if you want to, supporting your head and neck, just gently, very softly move your neck from side to side. So you might need to be very careful about this, but it's a very supportive, gentle movement of the neck. The chin's into the chest, and then just release your head back down to the ground, and then slide your hands out from underneath you. Bend your right knee. Place your right foot just above your left leg, your left knee, and then roll your whole body to the left. So it's a twist. You can have a cushion or a pillow underneath your right knee. Do stop me if you're not following me. And then your right hand is on your right waist, and your left hand is on somewhere on your left, on your right thigh. Just take it in and an out breath here, and your head can turn away, looking towards the light. It's a supine rotation. And then just very gently roll onto your back, Bend both knees and press your feet into the ground and lift your back gets really, you just sometimes need to adjust. And then extend your right foot, bend your left knee in towards you, and then roll to the right, taking your knee with you, and then it's rolling onto the other side. I'm going to place my left hand on my left waist, and my right hand just resting on the right thigh somewhere, and I'm going to turn my head. So depending on whether you turn your neck and look along the floor, which is a stronger movement, or whether you only just let your head turn a little bit and look upwards, again, is up to you. It moves different muscles, so choose when you feel most comfortable. And then very gently roll back onto your back and bend both knees. Press your feet into the ground to just lift and straighten you up. And then bend one knee into the chest and then bend the other knee into the chest and just rock gently from side to side. Support your legs as you place your feet back down onto the ground, and this time your palms are down facing the mat. So your hands will act as a support. And start, hopefully you both know what I mean by pelvic tilt. So just start by pressing your back into the ground, your lower back, just high up the lower back, as if you're going to lift your bottom up, and then just release and relax. And there's a little gap under your back. And again, just press down, release. And this time you can optionally press down with your feet. You don't have to, but you can actually lift your bottom, bend your elbows and raise your elbows up above your head. They can still have a bend and your chin goes to your chest. So this becomes a rolling bridge. Start your breath, breathe out, and then you'll find that your arms naturally guide you down and your bottom goes down to the ground. Hug your knees into your chest and just rock from side to side. This is very strengthening the lower back, but in a very safe way. Support your legs to bring your feet back down to the ground. Palms down. And press your feet into the ground. Lift your bottom. Bend your elbows. Your bent elbows go above your head. Your chin tucks into your chest. Stretch your arms out above. And then breathing out, you'll find if you start breathing out that your arms will naturally guide you down. Your bottom goes down to the ground. And then hug your knees into your chest. Slide your hands down to hold your inner thighs and extend your legs up in a V. And extend your heels. Breathing out, bend your knees, and breathing in, extend your heels. Breathing in, bend your knees, and breathing out, extend your heels. You'll feel as you extend your heels a tenseness on the inside of your leg. This is a psoas muscle you're activating, which is part of your leg support, but it also emotionally tunes into quite a lot of things. So then bring your legs together. Support your legs by holding under the thighs. And then you can your knees can be bent. Just gently wave your feet, the heels are relaxed from side to side, seaweed. And this would count as an inversion. And an inversion is very helpful for rebalancing the endocrine or the glandular system. But I do appreciate that you might not want to stay here for ages, so you can also do this position by having your legs up the wall and having support under your bottom or under your head. Really helpful for taking weight off the legs, reversing the blood flow. You're not getting blood pressure on your head because your head's flat on the ground. So again, it's a very supported movement. But we haven't got the wall, so I'm not going to keep you here too long. Bend your knees, and once more hug your knees into your chest, rocking from side to side. And then supporting your knees or your legs as you place your feet on the ground, once more hip width apart. And bending your elbows. Keep your elbows on the ground. You might want to adjust them out a little bit. And your fingers are gently pointing up towards the ceiling. Just stretch your fingers out, feeling the space between the fingers. It connects to the element of air and the sense of touch, and just release your fingers. Breathing out, just let your hands come to, on me they come to my diaphragm, my solar plexus area. My elbows stay on the ground. Breathing in, opening the hands out, as little as much as you like. Breathing out, lower your hands back down to your abdomen, your solar plexus center. Breathing in, opening your hands out, the weight of your arms supported by the ground, your elbows are on the ground. Breathing out, lower your hands back down to your diaphragm, your solar plexus. Feel that you can adjust your elbows a little bit to be comfortable for you. Your hands out as you breathe in, and then breathing out, lower your hands back down. This becomes an exercise, a respiratory exercise, so it's a breathwork exercise. You're coordinating a movement with your breath. It becomes a meditation. And even though you don't think you're moving anything, it is very gentle. You are actually moving almost your chest muscles very subtly as you're opening out your fingers. They say you can do yoga anywhere, anytime, so even just lying on the ground, you can still get movement and have a breathwork exercise and meditation. Just feel the air through the space between the fingers and breathing out. Just let the fingers float back down. Breathing in. It becomes a heart opening exercise as well, because you're opening the chest, the space, not compressing anything down. Your organs, your lower abdominal organs, have space. They're not being compressed as you stand or slump even. So it's just a very relaxing movement. And this time, as you bring your fingers back to your solar plexus, it doesn't matter which hand, just drop one hand towards your abdomen, your navel. And imagine that between your two hands internally that there is a silver ribbon or a piece of cord. And you'll note that the ribbon or cord is straight, it's not bent. When you stand up, you can also have one hand on the abdomen and one hand either at the solar plexus, slightly higher at the heart level. And again, if you imagine always that is a straight line, or there's between the silver cord and there's a straight line, it's not taut, but it's not crooked. You have a balance between the upper and the lower levels of the body. And then take either hand, it doesn't matter which, and just very, very gently connect with the palms of your fingers, lifting your elbow, and place the palms of your fingers right onto the flats of your fingers, onto your third eye, which is around your centre of your forehead. And if you very gently stroke across the centre of your forehead, you can go from one temple to the other, or you can just make it a smaller movement in the same direction. You're activating the pineal gland. Sometimes people see colours when they do this. So it's your third eye, it's your centre of intuition, and can be very soothing. connect here. And then finally, we're going to finish with our crown. Both hands now. Just place the heels of your hands either side of your head, and your fingers meet at the top of your head where the crown is. You might find that your chin has lifted up slightly. Just lengthen your neck, back of your neck, and just connect with the crown of the head. You can gently sway your knees from side to side if you feel that you'd like to do this. And just feel, you've got a lot of what they call nadis, so they're little points, energy points in the hands, healing hands. And you've got a lot of energy through these nadis. And so some people find it very soothing to hold the head out side. Where the heels of your hands are, there's that dent on your temples, is part of your ear channel. So it also connects into the eyes. So you can just almost press the heel of your hands into that channel. It's where your hat would go, or a ski hat would go. It's very helpful. It's an energy or a chakra point that's not often mentioned. It's not one of the major ones. Your ear chakra, and it's the colour is a maroon burgundy wine colour. So if you have an aversion to that colour or love it, connects into this chakra. And so by just gently pressing here, this is also very good for tinnitus, just connecting into that point here. Just pressing the heels of your hands here, and then just releasing, pressing the heels of your hands, releasing, and then your heels of your hands can move back to above the ear. And you're almost giving yourself a massage, circling your heels of your hands. And in yoga, very often you'll finish a yoga practice by connecting to the crown chakra that unites everything else, that links our body. We pick up the vibes from other people and the electrical vibes in the atmosphere. There are lots of them, and are connecting, I don't know what you call it, antennae, is often through the crown chakra. Would have been where the fontanelles are, right at the tops of the head. And so when you do this, you're holding your head like this, you're disconnecting yourself from all those vibes, all those energy levels that are swirling around, and you're actually almost going inwards. In yoga, there's a pose called the tortoise and variations of it, which signify going inwards. It's an introspective movement, but this holding the crown of the head achieves the same thing. And also in yoga, you'll also have people doing headstands, putting pressure on the head, connecting to that top of the head like that. But of course, headstands, well, I have got a headstand stool here, can be fraught with danger and neck issues and all kinds of other things. So this is a very gentle alternative. And then very gently releasing your hands, bringing your knees to your chest one more time, and rocking either side to side, or rocking, hugging your knees in, still holding them, letting them go away, or circling your knees in one direction and circling them in another direction, just to wake your body up. And you can stay here and just float away and relax, because it's quite an effort to come up. But if you'd like to come up and join to finish the class, then you're very welcome to, in which case I suggest that you roll to the side. So Yogic Wisdom is rolling away from your heart. So they suggest rolling to your right side. And the suggestion is also to take time and trouble to let your blood, just to let yourself readjust. So no suddenly coming up, just taking your time to really move almost inch by inch and let your body adjust so as not to spoil the lovely quiet and peace and calm that we've connected to. Taking the time, the trouble to come up very slowly. And when you're up, just bring your hands once more to that heart center or solar plexus, and take a bow for yourself to have a lovely day ahead. Thank you both very much for joining me.